welcome back to the Cynthia Manion Show. Tonight, we're thrilled to welcome an extraordinary guest who has been instrumental in shaping countless careers in the entertainment industry, Alycia Kaback. Alycia is the dynamic co-founder and co-owner of VIP Ignite, a premier talent platform connecting models, actors, and performers with leading industry professionals. Widely known for her passionate mentorship and keen insights into what makes talent succeed, Alycia has helped hundreds of aspiring performers build confidence, sharpen their skills, and land life-changing opportunities. Beyond talent, Alycia is also a seasoned producer, author, motivational speaker, Broadway investor, and media personality. Her engaging, no-nonsense approach blends tough love with genuine encouragement, guiding her clients toward tangible, lasting success. Tonight, we'll discuss Alycia's journey as an entrepreneur, her insights into breaking into the entertainment world, and her personal secrets for building lasting confidence and connections. Please give a warm welcome to the inspiring Alycia Kaback. Woohoo!
Welcome, my secret, I'll go to the chase. Lots of coffee. That is my secret. Lots of coffee. Man, whatever it takes.
Excellent. And I meet you with some H2O.
Yeah, I constantly get yelled at about the water thing, especially we were just out in the desert. And but coffee is made with water, so it's a win-win.
And you're starting off with Kelly Walker. Alycia, remember, every day is the best day.
Every day is the best day. This is true.
Yes. And hi,
Walker.
Thanks for joining. So, Alycia, can you briefly share how your journey into entertainment entrepreneurship began?
Oh my God. Well, I think at a very early age, I had a love of movies. I grew up in a family that, we just absolutely Friday nights, movie night, we went to the movie theaters constantly. And you're taught at an early age to follow your dreams. So at the age of 6, I remember I got a Fisher-Price movie camera for Christmas. I was the coolest kid on the block. And I always had dreams to get into show business, never in front of the camera, always behind the scenes. I wasn't sure where my place was in this industry. And when I was 17 years old, I didn't want to follow in my father's footsteps. I didn't want to be a lawyer. I didn't want to be a doctor. I wanted to do my own path. And my path was Hollywood. I wanted to do something. So I had applied to all these big film schools. I grew up in South Florida. And of course, all the schools I applied to were in New York City and LA. And I remember my parents saying, "Are you on drugs? Why would you do this to us? Like, this is not a real path. It's a waste of money." And I ended up going to school in Orlando. I graduated college with a double major in TV and film and communications. I busted my butt to walk across that stage to realize I wasn't special. I was just like everybody else with a college degree. It was up to me to make it happen. And I sat up on websites like a lot of other aspiring anybody, waiting for somebody to find me. And at first you're bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, thinking everything's going to work out. You put in the money, you put in the work, you cross that stage. And a year went by and I was still waiting on tables, and I felt like such a failure. I felt like such a loser. Perhaps I should have taken the guaranteed route of, going to school and just graduating and getting a job. And my belief was my resume does not sell me the way I could sell me. And I was a no name. I had nobody. I had no connections. And I did real estate for a while. I learned all about people skills, and that helped with the waitressing. And eventually I met my business partner, Michael Thumpkin, who and he's a brainiac. He's very much left brain, I'm right brain. And, he's got the brains, I've got the mouth. Let's start a business and let's do it. And really, it's an organic approach to help aspiring models and actors meet the right people. And the focus was I didn't have that when I was trying to get into the industry myself. So we created. So
you got some people saying hello. Joseph Smile. Hello.
Hello.
Millie. And so what initially inspired you to co-found VIP Ignite, and how has that vision evolved over time?
It's evolved so much. Originally we were just a New York City based company. Actually, at that time, we couldn't even afford New York City. We did our very first event in Philadelphia. And, we know about the other companies out there, the modeling schools and the websites and the photos and all the classes. And those things are great. But my best analogy is, in my opinion, they're just sharpening crayons. When do we actually put the crayons to paper? So we found that a lot of these places, I call them, the bad boyfriends of the industry, they were so quick to swipe that credit card and put you up on a website. But you and I both know real castings aren't posted on websites. It's all about people skills. It's not what you know, but who you know. And most of all, who knows you. And getting into the right rooms is imperative. And that's what we create. But not everybody's ready to get into those rooms. So we do a lot of training, both live and on Zoom. And Zoom has been so tremendous. Talk about evolving. Zoom. Thank goodness for Zoom. Because our whole entire business changed post-pandemic.
Grace has a question. She says, after you put people together, what is the ratio of success for the clients? Good question, Grace.
For which clients? For the agents, casting directors, or for the talent? Here's the thing with success. Everybody is different. So we have a very high success rate. We have over, I think, 15,000, maybe 20,000 success stories. But depending on your market, depending on what you look like, depending on, if you lived in Michigan and you had an opportunity, like right now we're working on Devil Wears Prada 2 to be in New York City for tomorrow. Can you get there? So if we have the opportunities, we submit talent, and we also like to get talent placed with some of the bigger agencies. So I would say our success rate is probably close to 90%. Our services aren't for sale. So every single person has been hand selected by our company. So that helps with the success rate, because everyone we're putting present face to face with top casting directors, agents, producers, and managers, they actually have a reason to be in that room. So that, if that
Thank you,
makes
Grace.
sense.
So what are the biggest misconceptions you frequently encounter about making it in entertainment?
Oh my God, I have so many. Where do I start? I feel like I need a drink for this one. There are so many misconceptions. You've been on my calls, man. I think that people, especially now in a digital world, and I want you to think about this. Like, Zoom is so easy. So is StreamYard. You just hop on. You're in where? DC right now. I'm in Florida. We could be anywhere in the world and still have conversations. Awesome. I remember living in New York City and also going back and forth to LA sometimes once or twice a month. Super costly to live in either one of those places. And back in the day, you physically had to live in those locations in order to even have a leg to stand on in this industry. Nobody was going to sign you unless you lived in LA or New York City. You had to be, you had to have training. Yeah, there were so many things that were involved. But now that we're on Zoom, as easy it is to hop on Zoom, especially for like us, it's easy. Like, we offer free calls. Anybody can come on. But this business got 10 times harder because your competition now is the entire planet for one role, versus living in New York and competing, against a couple of hundred for one role. Now casting directors will see close to 5,000 headshots. So some of the misconceptions are that if an agent really wants you, you should never pay for anything. That is 100% false. I recently wrote a book with Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, and I know you know Kevin, and this is our new book, From Startup to Stand Out.
Woohoo!
And we talk
Congratulations.
about, oh, thank you. We talk about, like, even in Shark Tank, he's one of the original sharks from Shark Tank, that even when they invest in a business, not only does the business owner pay it back, but they also make a percentage from here till eternity. So it's the same way with an agency. Agencies don't just give you money because you want it, or you're skeptical, or you're broke, or you're having financial issues. An agency, if you qualified, of course they would cover your upfront fees, but you always had to pay every cent back plus interest. So it was never free. So that notion, if somebody really wants you, it's free or it's not legit. Well, no. Number one, you had to qualify. They didn't make it rain with every single aspiring model or an actor on the planet, but it was a business. So in order for somebody to invest, they had to have some kind of guarantee of a recoupment based on genetics, based on skill, not just based on, well, if you don't pay for me, it's not real. So I think most people come on my calls thinking that that's how the industry works. Back in the day, especially for modeling, this, man, you had to be 5'9" to 5'11" to even be considered, which you are. Dress size 0 to 3, sometimes even a 4 would be pushing it. your age was like 15 to 19 to really pique the interest in order for an agency to kind of want to invest in you. It wasn't for people like me that are 5'4", size 8, size 10. I look more like other people. So it was really those 0.1% of the world, like the tall, the thin. It's almost like going to the Apple store. You have to qualify. So like if I went in with a Samsung, they're going to look at me like, why are you here? There's nothing here to fit you. And it was the same way with modeling. Back then, the sample sizes, there was one size. It was Barbie to Barbie, not Barbie to Cabbage Patch, and the problem is when people hear that, they think it's being mean, but at the same time, it's a business. The agency is, out of 1,000 people, maybe one might qualify for runway. And the agencies are like, oh, heck yes, I'm going to sign this person. They fit the genetic bingo card I'm looking for, the right height, the right age, the right, measurements. Yeah, of course, you had to live in the right vicinity. If not, they had mall apartments, but you had to pay back every single dollar. So that whole notion, if somebody really wants you, you shouldn't ever pay for anything. It's completely false. An agency, if you qualified, they cover all your fees, and every dollar, it's recoupment. It's recoupment. So the problem is most people that come on my calls think that's how the business works. And it's false. It's not real. And especially today, in this day and age, no one covers upfront fees. Agencies have learned their lessons that, especially now, with people living all over the country, if there was a casting, it's a liability, whether or not they're going to show up. Are they going to be prepared? Now everybody has a say as to, I don't know if you've seen lately, like the Sydney Sweeney ad on American Eagle. Everybody's got something to say, So now we're dealing with clients that, models can pick and choose who they want to work with. It's just too much of a liability for an agency to cover upfront fees at this time. It's almost like a hotel room. If you cover your own expenses, you're more prone to show up. You're more prone to be responsible, reliable, professional, because you have the vested interest too. Even getting into TV and film, just because you go to Yale School of Drama does not mean you're guaranteed, even though you spent $65,000 a year to go to a prestigious school. Your competition is the entire planet. So even if you're working 20 jobs living in New York, living in LA, even with the most stellar education, you may be going up against someone that lives in grandma's basement in Birmingham, Alabama. And I hope to find those people on a Zoom call, but you have to get in front of the right people. And I think now, especially in a digital world, safety is a top concern for casting directors. They're not really doing open calls anymore. You're not going in to audition any longer, not a lot, for these big casting directors or agents. And they really want somebody to vet the talent to make sure that they're of, that they're sane, that they're professional, reliable. And so what we do is we're able to present agents and casting directors our talent on a silver platter because they trust us. In the business, trust is a really big thing. And, this business has changed dramatically since, COVID, post-COVID. Everything is now digital, which it's easier to hop onto Zoom or StreamYard. But, again, the business got 10 times harder because of all the competition out there. So it has to, there's a formula that people do in order to be successful these days, and they have to follow it. And that's why I get so, you've been on my calls, we play a game called Scam or No Scam. Even if you join websites, real castings aren't posted. They're not going to go through 100,000 applicants and hope and pray that you're that person that's going to show up. So this business has changed a lot. And I love the fact that we're able to do this, throughout the country, even around the world. We've had talent that would never have access to the types of castings that we've been able to get because of the fact that we're in, this type of digital component now. The face-to-face, even then it was difficult, but now with Zoom and self-taping, and there's just so much more out there that I feel as though the talent, especially now, they're not really prepared to do this. Even having acting lessons is one thing, but actually knowing how to self-tape, read sides, know what a reader is, know how to do slates. This business is constantly evolving, so you have to stay educated. And I think, honestly, sometimes people deserve to get scammed if they're not willing to put in the work. It's easy just to put your little credit card in and pretend like you're a model, but to actually show up on set, this, and be on set for hours upon hours. And, it's a job. At the end of the day, it's a job, and they want the most qualified. Sorry, my allergies are driving me nuts today.
No problem at all. We have, Jake from Australia on, as a matter of fact. So Jake, you can join her class, free this weekend, VIP Ignite. Eric will pop it up on the screen so you can see where to join right here, vipsummit.com.
Yep,
So
VIP Ignite Summit. It's a 2-day live event. We'll have top agents and casting directors on. Sometimes we even have actors from hit TV shows, and it's great. We show pure transparency. It's not like a QVC commercial for VIP Ignite. We're talking, we're putting people on the hot seat, top agents, casting directors, asking them the questions that you want answered. And sometimes you're even able to have conversations on your own. And that's great.
It's quite cool. You'll get a good education there, Jake. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Grace asks, is age a drawback for models now?
No. I think 15 or 20 years ago, it definitely was. We didn't see a lot of models in their 30s and 40s. We saw the supermodel era. But now this business has changed dramatically. I mean, one of our biggest success stories is in her late 50s. She's got bright silver hair. And she's not a traditional high fashion model by any means. She does not fit the age bracket. She does not fit the clothing size bracket. And she lives like 7 hours from LA, but she books out $35,000 a day because here's why. She's relatable. Clients want relatable people selling their services, selling their brands. They don't just want a high fashion model selling, Palmolive or Tylenol. That's not believable. So people go with people that they like and people that they can envision themselves also purchasing. And it's all about trustworthiness. So again, age doesn't matter, height, weight, none of those things matter, not even location anymore, because there are clients looking for everyone. So that's the coolest part about this industry now.
Yeah. So
But
Grace,
because of that, competition is more fierce,
Grace, you can do a commercial. You can do some free ads.
Yeah, you can do it.
Check out the summit. What qualities or skills do you constantly see in individuals who succeed in the industry?
That is a great question. I'll tell you, there's a saying, success leaves clues, and that's 100% truthful. Some of our biggest success stories, it's kind of crazy. I'm a very A plus B equals C type person. I think it's because my dad went to West Point, so I'm like very military in my thinking. But I've gone through some of our biggest success stories, and I've just put them in my, in my Google search for my emails. These are people that never rescheduled. They always showed up. Here's one thing that drives me insane, and it kind of like is a precursor that someone may not have the mental power to do this. They ask questions that are literally addressed in the email. And sometimes I feel rude when I say this, like read the email again if you have to, read it out loud and read it a third time, before you ask that question. Because if you're going to ask a question that, like, here's the Zoom link. I'll get emails. I don't have a car. Where's the location? Can somebody call me? No, like, here's the Zoom link. Just register, or it will say, like, please send 3, digital headshots. They don't need to be professional. Make sure they're from here up. No other people. Because it would get confusing if you sent like a group photo with other people. And all day I get photos of people just laying down in their beds as though they're, trying to go on Playboy. I don't know what they're thinking. Or sending me like a group photo of them at a club. Who am I looking for in this picture? It's like, where's Waldo? Circle that person. So all you need to do is just like from here up, don't ever go like this and take pictures like in a mirror where I see the phone. Just like, even put a timer on, just follow the basic directions, and just come on and be ready to go. Like, we've even given talent, hey, here are some sides, here's a portion of the script, please review it before the call. And again, success leaves clues. Every single one of our big success stories, they showed up, they did exactly what we advised them to do, and they were ready to go. So I think, and again, they never rescheduled. I find it when people make a commitment, and this, you saw me in Miami a couple of weeks ago. I had walking pneumonia. I still showed up. So when people, make a commitment, I'm going to be on, or they schedule a live interview with me, you show up. That's it. Like, rescheduling, it's already a sign that you don't take this seriously. And whatever you have going on in your life, and believe me, I've been there. I understand. But at the same time, when it comes to a business, just like you don't want to get scammed, I don't want to lose the credibility that we built over 20 years. And we've got a lot at stake here. So we're going to protect the kingdom. So those are some of the things that I look for, like when somebody is applying, and also just like social intelligence. Can they handle working on this type of level? I call it the unglamorous, glamorous life, getting up at 4 a.m., being on set 15 or 16 hours. It's not glamorous. You're not working the whole time. But, and that's why we test them on our boot camps, like the VIPigniteSummit.com. It's a 2-day live event. You've been on them. They're 8 hours each day. I had a woman email me today going, well, can we maybe just do like an hour a day? I said, you could, but I would never work with you. You're trying to go on set. And this lady wrote back after I said that, well, 16 hours is so long. And so of course, me, and I'm very blunt, which isn't everybody's cup of tea. I said, well, what is it that you're looking to do? And how much experience do you have? How long have you been trying to do this? She said, I've been trying to do this for 20 years. So again, if you know me, I'm going to call her out. 20 years times 365 days times it by 24 hours a day. You spent this many hours, 175,000 hours, and you've done it incorrectly. Why not learn the right way in 16 hours for free? Like, if the pain is not great enough, you're not going to do something to change it. And, I don't know if you can see behind me, but we have 6 Tony Awards. We've opened the stock exchange. Like, I'm a Fox News music expert. I've worked with a guy from Shark Tank. I'm on CBS as a music expert. We have over 10,000 success stories. We just won our 10X award with ClickFunnels, and I have my bling bling right here. When you're working with these amazing people, I don't want sympathizers. I don't want people to come on with drama. Save the drama for Netflix. Don't show me any weakness. If you want to do this, you have to sell me as to why I would want to work with you. So again, follow the emails and don't ever reschedule, and show up and be on stage, because the second you get on a Zoom call, we're watching everything. So, and again, nobody likes that blunt approach. The winners do, but I find that the people that are always super skeptical, they want that website. You're famous, the rainbows, the unicorns. You don't have to work at it. You can absolutely star in a Marvel movie. Just buy headshots. Those people don't understand the industry, and unfortunately, they kind of deserve to get scammed because they're not willing to put in the work. The work is hard. When you're face to face with a casting director, you're not the only one. Why would they pick you over anybody else? You have to become the best candidate. And we do a lot of these trainings for free because we know what's out there. And it's not even so much about the scams. It's also a safety concern. Do you have any idea how many young women and men, even over the age of 18, they'll show up to hotel rooms to try to get free photos. They will show up to basements, parking garages, to the middle of the woods because they've been taught their entire life that they shouldn't ever have to pay. Then they're joining websites that there is no vetting. Anybody can say anything they want to on a website. We're going to make you famous. You're going to star in a movie. Even the movies we get, and it's like, you do understand I would have to submit over a headshot. You're still going to have to audition. What are you bringing to the table? So like, there's no rainbows and unicorns. It's literally in the name, show business. It's 2 words. You have to show real people in the industry that you mean business, because this is not for impersonators. It's for doers. And every time I've ever had you at one of our events and you've met some tremendous people, you've shown up. You're there with purpose. You're not there to talk about anything horrible going on in your life, looking for sympathy. You are a perfect candidate. You just need that chance to shine. And as a business, we are allowed to use discretion and say, well, I don't think you're really a great fit for our company, which you are. And every single time you bring value to them, you have them on their podcast, you ask educated questions, you've had, so much experience in the past. And I think it's important for anybody watching this, it's not meant to be easy. It really is a challenge, but man, tell you what, there's a saying, there's no business like show business. That is 100% true. It is the best business in the whole wide world. And I get so excited. Tonight, we're watching a movie that one of our talent is in. And I'm really excited. We're watching The Irishman tonight. We have a bunch of talent in it. One of our coaches who starred in The Sopranos is also in this movie. I've never seen it. Man, when it came out on Netflix, I had a newborn, so I'm like, tonight's the night. And I get really excited when I see my talent on TV or on commercials or on billboards in Times Square. Even right now, we're gearing up for Fashion Week in New York City. You can't join a website and think you're going to get castings for these types of things. These are agents that get these castings. They're not about buying classes or buying photos. Your agent submits qualified people, but you have to become what an agent wants. And those are things that we do together at VIP Ignite. I'm sorry if I'm going on, but I'm so passionate.
Beautiful. Excellent information.
Yeah. And
Meanwhile,
nothing drives me crazier than
Grace
somebody
wanted
that
you to know.
yeah.
Grace wanted you to know she's 93. I think there's a spot for her, actually.
There's always a spot, Grace. And here's what I could say. If you're above ground, it's your time. It's always your time.
Happy and healthy and amazing. Grace,
Every second of every day, it is your time. You have to go for it. No regrets.
It's the best. It's so much fun. Anything that keeps Alycia getting up every morning and going. This woman works nonstop. I have to tell you, nonstop.
I have a 4-year-old. Yeah. I really do try to divide and conquer. It is not easy at all. It really does take a village.
It does. So your coaching blends your tough love and genuine encouragement. So how do you strike the right balance there, Allie?
Back in the day, I always get these emails from people that, Zoom is it's so convenient, but at the same time, you get so many people that just make excuses about their life. So back in the day when you used to have to come to one of my offices in New York or Philly or Miami, I would have this like whiteboard and I would have like a Sharpie and like try to draw out my feelings. It would almost look like a football game plan. So here's what I could say about my coaching program. If this is you in the middle, and these are your friends and family, maybe other people that you know that have tried to get into this industry, if they've never had any amount of success, tell them I said to shut up. Stop giving opinions. So the coaching program I have here at VIP Ignite, and I'm not an actor, I'm not a model, I don't do voiceover, I certainly can't sing. We have some of the biggest names on the planet that do these coachings. Cast members from The Walking Dead, cast members from America's Next Top Model, High School Musical, the Goldbergs, people that have been trained at some of the most prestigious schools in the world, like NYU, Juilliard and Carnegie Mellon and Berkeley, and just some of the most Stella Adler. But if this is your dream, I always want to ask people, where are we going? Where are we going on this dream? Because everybody's dream is different. So I'll hold this up quite a bit and say, okay, this is you. This is your dream. What's here? And I'll have people like kind of paint the picture for me. Oh, my dream is to blank. I want to be on TV. I want to be on film. I want to star in a Netflix series. I want to do voiceover. Whatever it is, I want to be a model. I want to do this. Here's the problem. Even if you paid for pictures, classes, and websites, you're always going to hit obstacles. People in the industry are never going to know you exist. What is the purpose of joining a website if real castings aren't posted? These websites, they all sell you pictures. I call it the lasagna effect. They just keep selling you stuff. Oh, you need pictures. Pictures for who? Who's looking at you? Oh, you need training. Training is great when you have an agent and they're submitting you out for castings. So with our company, we found so many, it's almost like a submarine. We found so many reasons why talent just kept sinking towards the bottom with desperation. And, unfortunately, why the scams started popping up, because people are looking for like the quick way. So for us, with our approach, we do a lot of mindset training. We work with some of the biggest names on the planet for that, like Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, some of the guys from Shark Tank, even Brian Tracy, Les Brown, some of the OGs, the greats. Mm-hmm. And mindset, man, it's kind of like a sales job. You have to sell the casting director as to why they can pick you. And sometimes it's also about personality, like a first date. You can be the most attractive person in the room, but if you don't have the personality to bring it, your light's going to dim real fast. So we go over like positive body language, things to do, things not to do, even proper ways to dress, proper ways to introduce yourself, things you should never do on social media. we had to learn this the hard way because, when we went back and looked at some of our success stories, honestly, Mike and I would sit back going, well, how did this person end up becoming one of the voices of Transformers and, on an off Broadway show now, working with A-listers? How did this even happen versus somebody who went to the event and just kind of fell by the wayside? Oh, mindset training. Okay, so that's a big thing. And I want everybody to understand this. When you're getting into show business, no one is going to understand. No one, none of your friends, none of your family. It is all you. So we have to make sure that this vessel, you need to be like a warrior going into battle. Nothing can trigger you because there is a lot of rejection. And I don't want somebody breaking because of it. We have talent, Cynthia, that send out 5 or 6, self-tapes a day. They're not betting on every single one of them being a winner. They just know it's not in the numbers. I get talent that go through one audition and I'm like, hey, you don't make the cut. And they're out for blood. It's like Frankenstein. They're trying to show up with like the torches, the pitchforks. This business is all rejection, but that's the reason why you're trying to get into this industry, because you love it. It's based on ego. So, in order to feed that ego, you have to be that sharpened crayon ready to be put to work. So every day, even when no one is watching, you're working on your craft. And so that's what the coaching does. Even if you're not in New York or LA, I'm not even in New York or LA right now. It's great because we're all still connected. We have a community of real people that understand, that are on the same path, some of which have had their big break. It's almost like the big brother, big sister program at the end of the day. My best analogy, it's kind of like church on crack. Everybody really loves each other. They're super passionate. So by the time you go to New York or LA with us or to any of our events, you already feel like you belong, and that's going to help you shine when you're sitting face to face with some of the biggest names who could snap their fingers and change your life in 30 seconds or less. Because that's important. Mindset is a really big part of this industry. Mindset. You got to walk into that room, whether you went to Yale or maybe you did Rising Star Academy. We offer services as low as $97 a month, literally working with some of the biggest names in show business. Again, because it's not for sale. I love the fact that somebody that went to Yale or somebody paying $97 a month, $80,000 a year, $97 a month. I'm literally fighting for the underdog because I'm going to get them hopefully in front of the right agent. And that agent is going to see something in that person. Signed, done. And the best part is they don't even have to move to LA. As long as they have proper images, as long as they have proper training, they could do everything. You can see my camera setup from
you have
their
to move
home.
your chair a little bit because I didn't get to see the Emmys either. So can you see this guy?
So I have the Tony Award back there. I have me on Fox News. I have my 10X Award with ClickFunnels. We've been in business now for 20 years, and we work with some of the biggest names on the planet. But in order to meet these people, I'm going to ask you why. Why do you want to get into this industry? It's not for fame and fortune. Can those things come? Yeah, and it's great. But you really I have to know your why. And you're really going to have to put in work, even if you think you're already ready. No one is ready for this industry. There's a lot that needs to be done. So
hold on to your day job, but get up earlier, do the work, show up.
You money to do this industry.
It's so
for
exciting.
Sure.
What's the most common challenge you help clients overcome when they're starting those careers? Let's see, self-worth, confidence.
Being in the right location doesn't matter any longer. Right height, right age, those things, those are stories you tell yourself. Those are your internal beliefs. And even for acting, we've had talent that have never even stepped foot on set before that are now auditioning for Quentin Tarantino. But the reason why is because they met an agent who has access to those castings, and they were able to show the agent that they could actually handle that without ever being on set before. And it can happen. It's happened before, and it will happen again.
Yeah. Can you share a memorable success story that highlights the power of mentorship?
Oh my gosh, I have so many.
I know you do.
even me, and I hate to use this as an example, but when I first moved to New York City, I was so intimidated. I was so afraid. And Michael Fomkin, my business partner, he would laugh at me because I couldn't make eye contact. I was so scared of it. Because you hear these stories about New York and, scary, and your parents are like, watch everybody, and I was so intimidated. One day I was walking through Times Square with him, And I was looking up at these billboards, and I still hadn't done anything in show business. I had this like in the back of my mind dream about making movies one day, or, just really wanting to be a part of it. And I said, how the hell do you really, like, how do you do this? Like, for real? And with all the Broadway marquees, think about all the people that spent their entire life taking dance classes and vocal lessons. And, they found a way to get to New York to audition for that show, and all the callbacks. And then they made it. It's like chorus lines, and man, all the headshots and all the times that they probably wanted to give up, and their friends and family making fun of them for continuously trying or investing themselves. And when we started VIP Ignite, we were pretty much just the bridge. We were never the destination. So if somebody was here and they wanted to get here to that final destination, the casting directors, the producers, the agents, I was just the journey. I was never like, hey, let's get a t-shirt from VIP Ignite. I was just the journey. Nobody wants the journey. They just want the end result. And so at the end of the day, I ended up getting a radio show with CBS Digital. I had Howard Stern's old studio. People really appreciated my fresh approach on how to really do this industry the right way without all the fluffs and the gimmicks. But I had a friend who came on the show, and he's 50 Cent's acting coach. And he said, listen, after this, I'm doing this monologue slam. I'd very much like to invite you to come on and be, a guest judge. And I said, well, tell me about it. Who else is going to be, there? Who can I meet? Because I'm always trying to leverage, if I do this, what's in it for me? I'm not looking for pay. I'm looking for leverage. I'm looking for power. Who can I network with? And he told me about this amazing woman. Her name is Pat Addis, and she's a top Broadway producer. She's part of the League of Professional Theater Women and the Drama Desk, and she's won, many Tony Awards. And Lincoln Center just did a standing ovation for her. And he's like, she's a ball buster. And like my impression of her when I first met her, she scared me to death. I didn't know what to say to her. She was in her like late 70s, and here I am, 30 something years old, nothing in common. I'm not Broadway. I'm not theater. I'm not classically trained. I had no idea what was even happening on Broadway. And we joined a bond. Like, we ended up having tea. Another day we had a nice afternoon luncheon, and we had tea. And, and she said, well, honey, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know anymore. I started this business. I love helping people, but I kind of want to help myself. I want to learn more about the industry. And she invited Mike and I to go for an investor meeting for a new show she was working on. And of course, when I mentioned that to my friends or my family, oh, it's a cash call. And essentially it was, because to become an executive producer, you cut that check and, but it's something that has to be earned to even get into that room. And even, I mean, man, New York has so many millionaires, billionaires even. You have to be picked to be able to do this. And I was picked to be part of the show, and it ended up winning, a bunch of Tony Awards. We worked with Sigourney Weaver from Alien and Avatar. And, it's kind of like cutting a check for speed, getting in front of the right people. Mike and I learned everything about marketing, even about the casting process, the choreographer. We had many conversations with the set designers. When we were nominated for our very first Tony Award for Best Play, I gasped. I freaked out, because when I invested in the show, everybody, including my parents, thought it was the most wrong decision in the world, And when we got nominated and then we won, our whole entire life changed. So by meeting that one person and kind of having mentorship from her, and I said to my mom, I said, yeah, it's a lot of money to invest in a show. I don't even want to tell you the amount, because it's up there, but it's almost like going to Vegas and taking out a mortgage on your, on your home and saying all on red. If it hits, it hits big. And that just to even be offered this opportunity to work with Sigourney Weaver, I knew enough about Sigourney Weaver, Yale graduate, man, Avatar, not to mention Alien, Ghostbusters. I mean, she had such a amazing, resume. I knew that if she was attached to it, it was going to be a winner. And I knew that my mentor knew the ins and outs of this business, and she walked me through the math. And it was a wise business decision, not necessarily to recoup our investment, which is always the goal, but to just have proximity Plus the proof. Now you're working with top people, you're on set, you're getting a chance to be part of the action. Our names were in the, the pamphlets, the brochures, and then getting to go to the Tony Awards. That was something in a million years I never thought we would do. And it was crazy. Our show, true story, was up against Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks and The Lucky Guy. Tom Hanks, one of my favorite actors of all time. He was sitting a few rows in front of me. I had so much proximity. I was like baffled that I was even able to get into the room. Nevertheless, that was my competition now. Well, not mine, but the show's. And we won. And nothing made me more proud than to hold that trophy. And, I kind of wanted to say, suck it to everybody. But in a way, it helped build the notoriety. And then it's almost like getting 21 in Vegas. You want to just keep winning, And we started working with tremendous people like Dan Loria, who I was just talking to earlier today from the hit show, The Wonder Years. He's a friend of ours. Just meeting the right people. Vanessa Hudgens from High School Musical. We're also part of a Disney production, Peter and the Starcatcher, which we're still touring on the West End. So getting access to these tremendous people, it's pretty cool, and just getting that proximity to people of that type of level is everything. And so like everything that I'm saying right now, and I'm sorry if I'm rambling, I'm always so excited to help people that want help, because I pick the brains of everybody. Like even Dan Loria, who's a friend of mine, he was mentored by people like Cary Grant and Jimmy Stewart. I am not worthy. Like when I went to film school, I don't know if you can see behind me, this is a Rear Window poster right behind me. Like I'm a huge Alfred Hitchcock fanatic. You mentioned Jimmy Stewart or Cary Grant. I think of every Christmas movie just to have access to hear these stories. Even one of the head writers for Saturday Night Live wrote the foreword to our book. He co-created Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like to even have access to these people, you need that resume. So that's what we do here at VIP Ignite. So anybody that we decide to move forward with, it's not my success, it's our success. And everybody in the world that I've ever met through our company, if a talent needs help, I'm like, let's do it. Let's get that person. And so we're able to do that because they're not one-hit wonders. These are real people that we have lasting relationships with. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize. It's 20 years of building real relationships, real, not fake, not Instagram, and then they're like, peace out. But having real relationships with people, that's the most important thing that we bring to the table here, which is why we're very selective about who we pick. Protect the kingdom always. Yeah.
Always. VIP Ignite is renowned for connecting talent with high-level professionals, as you just heard, ladies and gentlemen. So, keep your day job, but your day job could be, keep it, burn all the chips. You got one thing, but think of all the things that she mentioned that could be your day job to get to your end goal. What's your best tip for a
keep the lights on to continue with your training? I had a woman earlier today. Her husband wasn't supportive. She has kids. She doesn't make her own money. I said, if this really happened and you had to go on set for a day or two, who's going to help you? I don't know. Okay, well, this isn't going to work for you. I know your dream is to be on stage, but like, it's not going to work for you. Or like men or women that have to ask permission, ask for support, and make your own decisions. Here's my thought. If you're over the age of 18 and you could take a bullet for your country, you literally can join the military, fight for your own dreams. Don't ever allow somebody that you're passionate about, your dreams, to determine, like, to pretty much write your future. You give them that power. Take it back. Take back your power. And so here at VIP Ignite, that's why we do live calls. I want an immersive event, even 16 hours. A lot of times we have to like break down all the mental blocks that you've built over the years. And then now after we build, or after we tear down the mental blocks, now it's time to build the fortress that you could have if you did it the right way. And that's, it takes time to do that. So even financially, you could have auditions and not land anything. And then like a week later, book that big job. 3 months later, 6 months later, it could take years before you do. But if you don't even try, you'll never know. And again, I think that's why people love to get taken advantage of. Oh, I joined a website. What is that going to do? Oh, I paid for pictures and they're so excited about it. Well, that's great, but no one is looking other than your friends and family. So I really want to tell you, you gotta keep up that day job. You always do. When Vanessa Hudgens, when we were working together on our Broadway show, she was still auditioning, even though our show was like one of the top shows that you could see on Broadway, she was still auditioning, because you never know when that show is going to end. It could happen anytime. So, and you got to constantly plant those seeds. So, no
What's
guarantees ever.
what's your best tip for effective networking?
To be sincere. To be sincere, I think that's, I mean, there's such a thing called stage presence. And just to kind of know the business, every day. I'm always on websites, I'm doing research. Some of the websites I go to are Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, Variety. I know what's happening with AI, different shakeups with the union, going over Hollywood, tax incentives. Because here's what I want to tell you: if I could put you in the right rooms, what are you going to talk about? Make me famous? Hold your hand out? Like, you have to have the conversation skills. And sometimes, again, it's with the mindset, how you treat, when you go to, your friends and family's house, and, all you do is complain about your life and nothing's ever working right for you. Think about, if you were a producer, would you want to work with that person? I know I wouldn't. So I encourage anybody. Sometimes you really have to take that mirror and reflect and really figure out why you want to do this business, what makes you different. And then you got to paint the picture. And most of all, you got to be able to jump in head first, and build a plane on the way down. That's the best analogy I can give anybody trying to get into show business. But with us, with over 20,000 success stories, you're not going to crash. We would have never let that happen. And we're going to do everything in our power, both virtually and live, to ensure the best outcome. The rest is up to you.
Woohoo! So your tagline has many, many roles: entrepreneur, mom,
Yeah.
Broadway backer, author, Disney fanatic. How do you balance it all?
Well, the Disney is easy. I show up when I'm done with work. So on Saturdays are my easy day. I do Zoom from 11 to 1 as soon as I'm done, because I'm working from home, which I love. As soon as I'm done, I'm like, I got to get out of here. So Disney is a great escape, especially since I used to live in New York. I very much like the hustle and bustle. Not saying I love the heat. Man, Florida, we were at Disneyland last week. The high was 80. I was like, I don't want to leave. But like, being a mom is my most precious gift in the world. I didn't have my son till I was in my 40s. I literally, I put work first. I put everything first. And I'm so lucky to be this little kid's mom. You met Caden, he's the love of my life. And
Horrible.
and even now, like, I get to work these long hours so I can provide for my family. I get to do these cool things, even with trips. And, we're always doing educational things. I, you know, I being an author is great because I can tell my story and show transparency that, I'm not lucky. I worked very hard to get into this industry, and maybe some of the tips or some of the stories might resonate with somebody to keep trying. And man, she had it hard, and look at her. She's still doing it. She didn't give up. So I kind of want to show through the stories, which is why it's important to write the books. As a mom, I hate to say this, but I think even on Facebook and Instagram, I think people like to know that I'm a real person. I'm not like, hey, let's join this website, let's be famous, because that's what everybody's doing. That's not the reason why I'm able to get so many relationships and, the mentoring I've been able to get over the years is because I lay it on the table, hey, I want to learn, teach me everything. What was the biggest, aha moment you had in your career? If you could do it again, what would you do differently? And what's crazy is when I found out I was pregnant, I freaked out. I remember it was February of 2020. There was rumblings on the news about something called COVID happening in China. And March of 2020, the entire world shut down. And I was in tears. Here I am, pregnant with my first child. Our entire business at VIP Ignite was live in person. All of our Broadway shows closed. Like, Fashion Week was canceled. Everything I knew, castings, auditions, everything was gone. Talk about the rug pulled out from underneath you. So now my livelihood, after like 15 years, overnight, it's like, that's it. We can't do live events. Done. And we had a big event scheduled for LA. And I remember watching Gavin Newsom saying no large events. I was like, oh my gosh, that's us. Like, we do these large events of like 200 people. 200 people. Oh, wow. New York would be our second option. New York is shut down. So here I am, pregnant with my first child. My dad had dementia. It's literally in the middle of a global pandemic. My entire business is gone, pregnant. I looked at my boyfriend, now fiance. I said, we got to get the hell out of here. I want to be with my family. If the ship is going down, I want to be around family. I need help. I can't do this by myself. I left Mike, who's my business partner of like 25 years, left the only location I've ever known, which are our offices, left the office, moved cross country, had my baby, and I was able to make it here 2 months before my dad died. True story. So God works in mysterious ways. So even when I'm, doing Zooms and, oh, it's so hard. And yes, it's hard, but it's worth it. You have to put up the fight. And I think now, especially that we're in this Zoom world, I can help more people. I love it when people, email me asking, is this going to cost money? Already, I know that you can't handle this because it's going to cost money for you to call out sick to work, to maybe take a ride to get to set, pay for gas, pay for tolls. What if you had a callback for a huge production? Could you not afford the flight? You can't go with your hand out. You just show up and you do your job. I don't want to hear any drama, no excuses. And even when my dad passed, I didn't take off. I felt as though VIP was my family and it was the only way I could get through it. So for anybody here that feels lost or alone or, nobody understands, we understand, which is why we work so hard, because we know what's at the end of the finish line. Here's my hand, let's go together. And I think it's important. And also the community, man, I don't even know where I'd be without the community, especially Mike and Deneen, man. Woo!
Oh,
Talk about
fabulous.
craziness. It was the perfect storm all at one time. Pandemic, move cross country, your whole entire business. I didn't even know how I was going to even pay for anything. Like literally everything was gone, just like that.
Ooh,
5 years later, 10X award. Is that crazy?
it's
Because we
fabulous.
started focusing on what made the company work, and the best part is being ourselves. And I think even with my little boy, man, people saw the tears. People were rooting for me when I was going into the maternity. Like everybody was really excited about the journey because they had met me at the physical offices, some of which met me through Zoom. And especially during the pandemic, it was such a scary time. I was now that familiar face that can get on and I could be myself. And I was having different celebrities on sometimes twice a week. And I would say like, hey, I know you're on this show, like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, or, you've done voices for Disney. Let's do a live call and let's just come together. And we really built a strong community that way. So we've learned how to make lemonade. It's the craziest thing.
And you can
I wear a
follow,
lot of hats.
put up her Instagram stuff so everyone knows where to go find her. So you can go
Yep, you'll
see
see
her.
lots of pictures of my kid. Like my
Yeah.
kid and VIP Ignite literally take up my whole phone. Like that's it. It's all, and I
Oh,
can't delete it,
I thought it was your Disneyland pictures.
which is always family and work. Yeah, we all have annual passes at VIP Ignite. It's like literally the best therapy because you go, you're happy. Even if it's just an afternoon, you feel like it's like a reset. It recalibrates you. And it's important that you do that, like unplug and just be happy.
And get the magic.
Yeah, Disneyland was so amazing last week. It just, when you're there, and especially like I saw people wearing their pins like first time, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even remember my first time. I was like an infant. And it, I think about people also going to the events like first time, and it's the same world of wonder. Anything can happen, and it can, and it has. And that's the best part. So we see a lot of the policies Disney has. I was trained by Disney when I used to waitress, and I went through all of their training. So some of the things that we do, it's kind of like stage doors open, like some of the things we really instill upon, the talent at VIP. They don't know that. I mean, now I'm sharing it, breaking news, but some of those simple things, you're always on stage. That's a Disney saying. You're always on stage, always.
And isn't that a
Always.
beautiful way to live, ladies and gentlemen? Don't you want more sparkle and joy? Go for it
I
now. Go for it now.
can.
Don't wait. Now. How has social media changed opportunities in entertainment? Like when's one strategy talent should use online?
Man, this business has changed dramatically. I was talking to somebody yesterday in their 40s, doesn't work, wants to be a TikTok star. And I'm just like, what? What? And they always think it's going to just hit, like the lottery. It's my time. I think what's really great, one thing I really want to share with people, if you want to be an actor or a model, you want to do anything in this business, don't just take selfies. Show people who you are. Casting directors want to see you cooking. They want to see you living. They don't want to just see selfies all the time. Don't be self-absorbed. They want to see you with your kids. They want to see you be normal. But most of all, even with our actors, if you have to, go to Barnes and Noble, pick up a book on, acting 101 or Meisner technique. Show casting directors who you are, because believe me, especially this day and age, they're doing searches. They are doing searches, and the searches can be great. Even if you've never been on set before, they can kind of get a gist of who you are. And there's also some real crazy people, and I'm kind of glad social media can also show that side, because it's a precursor that person probably shouldn't be allowed on set. So if you're affiliated with anything crazy, or you're hitting a like or sharing stuff that you probably shouldn't be, remember, you're always on stage, not just on Zoom, but also on social media, and you never know who's watching. So social media is great. Yeah, social media is great. It can help. It can help a lot.
What's your favorite Broadway show? What's your favorite Broadway show right now? Or
I
ever?
have so many. I'm a huge fan, and I'm like an OG Phantom of the Opera fan. Anytime I could see Phantom of the Opera, I'm down. I cried so hard when Phantom left the Majestic Theater. Mike and I saw Phantom of the Opera so many times. We used to joke around. We were going to collect all the Phantoms. We've had Norm Lewis. We've had Howard McGillen, when it literally picked by Andrew Lloyd Webber. We had the last Phantom of the Opera, Ben Crawford, who's also part of our company, one of our coaches. And I'm like, literally, we're collecting Phantoms, and now they're working on the part, the remake. And I'm so excited to see it. And I'm hoping that somebody will ask me to be a part of it. I will, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, I will be a part of that show. If somebody asks me, I don't care what I have to do. Sell my kidney. I'm just kidding. But I would do whatever it takes to take that risk, because it's going to be tremendous. And have you seen Phantom?
Of course. Second day opening in New York City.
Oh my God. When that chandelier falls, it's just even if you've seen it, it's awe-inspiring. I mean, I've seen a lot of shows. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of any of the shows that I'm a part of. But I'll tell you, there's just something real magical about Phantom. It's just so good. It's so good.
James, what's his name? James Barber? He was a Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
He's down in Florida too, with his
Yes, actually, I've had conversations with him. I have.
Yeah,
he's a friend of our friend. Yeah, Ted McGrath and James. We were talking about doing a production together. Yeah,
very cool. He's fabulous. Beautiful voice.
He's got a great voice. Like when he talks, I could really imagine him going through the Starbucks drive-through. I'll have his voice, it's perfect.
They probably melt.
Oh my gosh, he is tremendous. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but anybody who could play the Phantom, it's the sexiest part. It for real is just commanding the audience. And it's kind of crazy. We actually brought our inner circle with us to go see Phantom of the Opera when Ben was there. And he brought our inner circle, which is only 20 people. We got to go up into the rafters to see where he stands when he's looking down at the audience. We got to see the pulleys, because there's a way that Phantom goes from the stage to the back of the theater. How does he do it so fast? He gets on this thing like a skateboard, and he slides like Taylor Swift, to the back. And he's only on stage 17 minutes total, even though it's the Phantom of the Opera. Everybody's just waiting. Where is he going to be? And, it's kind of surreal when the Phantom of the Opera. I remember one time I was sitting next to Mike and Deneen and Ryan Colby, and I was getting text messages from Ben. He was above the rafters, and he was like, "I see you," and I was like, "Oh my God!" And I'm showing Michael. He's like, "That's so cool," So going bright-eyed, bushy-tailed girl, this is my first Broadway show, which it was. To now, the Phantom of the Opera is texting me, and he's awesome. He's got a wife, he's got kids, he's a normal guy. But again, having kids starts to it's that bridge that binds everybody together. I'll tell you, it's a great conversation starter. But getting to play with the costumes and even the gondola, we had the inner circle taking pictures with the candelabras, and I'm like, okay, this is VIP. This is VIP Ignite. Some people go to just see a show, not us. We're gonna go backstage, hang out with the cast, and then go out to dinner, and that's what we did. So that's why we are very selective, because we offer tremendous opportunities and experiences.
And
So
it's
if
so
that's
fun. It's so fun.
yeah,
And
sure.
ladies and gentlemen, you need to be in shape. You got to take care of your mind, body, and soul, because that is not easy work. That is an exhausting job, being Phantom of the Opera, even if it's only 17 minutes on
Oh
stage.
my
It is physical.
It is physical for sure. Climbing and oh my goodness.
In fact, all
Not
of
to
it is.
mention even the performance, like just the singing. A lot of people don't know that they have booths in the back and they're singing even when they're not on stage. It's crazy, and nothing is recorded. Like they're literally going to the sound booths and they're singing and then getting out there. I'll never forget opening night with Gigi with Vanessa Hudgens. I felt like I was at Saturday Night Live, because right before we had, the pre-show, we had all the rehearsals. They decided to cut one of her songs before we went live, literally right before the curtain opened, and Mike and I are looking at each other like they made an executive decision opening night. Could you imagine, like, where do you stand? What do you do? Like, we're cutting out this whole entire dance routine. Like, how does this go into the net? Like, literally, like, just pause, start. What? And she did it flawlessly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and as a talent, you have to be prepared for that. That's part of the job.
always,
Always be
always.
thinking.
And one remarkable thing about Vanessa, and I'll end it with this, she never did anything like half, she went full out. Every single rehearsal, she pointed her toes, she danced to the best of her ability, she sang, she never walked it out. And as a dancer, you just kind of go through the steps, and you kind of just, she did everything thoroughly. And I mean, the heat was on. As a Broadway show, she was selling the tickets. I mean, the whole cast was great, but people were paying to see her. And she did not disappoint. Every show, every rehearsal, she was 100% on. Even, man, I'll never forget, her dad died. I don't know if you remember this. Her dad died while she was doing Grease Live, and she still went on the day her dad died. And you got it. Mad respect. I get people, I have cramps, I have headaches, I can't get on. This has been my dream forever, but family emergency. All right, you're already weak. Next.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we could probably talk for 16 hours
No
right now.
excuses. Yeah.
But
No excuses.
finally, what's one powerful intention you're setting for yourself this year?
Man, I'm trying to enjoy life every single day, not ever putting something off I could do today. So even this morning, I had a whole entire to-do list. I got up early, and I know this is going to sound crazy. I got up super early because I wanted to be present while my son is still sleeping. And I wanted to just knock out everything on my list. So by the time he woke up, I'm here and I'm ready. Because why put things off, for later that you can do right this second? So, take that extra half hour in the mornings if you need to. You will be surprised by how much you can get done. And I'm a constant fan of to-do lists. This is all to-do lists every day. And I'm crossing stuff off my list. Nothing makes me happier than whipping out that highlighter,
And it
crossing it
feels
off.
so good. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much,
It feels
Alycia.
so
You
good.
were amazing.
Thank you
Amazing,
so much.
amazing, amazing, amazing. We'll see you next week at 7 p.m. for the Cynthia Manion Show. Share this out, like it, please subscribe to the Cynthia Manion Show, and join us again for more interesting guests who I just can't let her go. My goodness. Thank you so
I know.
much. You're
I feel like I'm going to
fabulous.
see you soon. I've seen you recently, and if you're serious, register for a live call. Let's see if you have what it takes.
And
All
put up
right.
that, there it is, VIPignitesummit.com. Woohoo!
Follow me on Instagram. We're always announcing really cool stuff. So, hey, if you want to be part of the community, just follow me. I'll show you the way. Take my hand. Yeah. Thank you, Cynthia.
Oh, thank you, Alycia. You're fabulous, fabulous,
Oh, you're
fabulous.
fabulous.